Ladies and gentlemen, this is the headline of international news. The president of the Russian Federation, Vladimir Putin, on this March 5th, 2025, has just delivered a speech never before given. This speech is very frightening, very sharp, and it is directly addressed to the European Union and NATO. He addresses the European Union, NATO, in the sense to clearly warn them, because what they are preparing and the response that Russia has prepared is unprecedented. It risks being a first in the world. Vladimir Putin, in a very wise, very respectful, very cordial manner, goes beyond even the issue of Ukraine. Since the issue of Ukraine is already known, the issue of Ukraine will be resolved very soon. But beyond even the issue of Ukraine, Europe is provoking something else. We talked about it earlier. Their famous meetings they will hold tomorrow, the appointment of Kaja Kallas, the formation of a super powerful European army, the consideration of withdrawing the veto right against Hungary, and all that. So we are in a dynamic where if Donald Trump America does not intervene between Russia and Europe, it would be spoiled for good. So in the context of this video conference, it is this very frightening speech that Vladimir Putin has just delivered, which we are going to dissect, which we are going to examine. It is a very long speech, but we will take the essential points, the main lines that we will present, and then dissect. But before continuing, ladies and gentlemen, I ask you to share this video conference as much as possible. Share it as much as you can. Share it in all the groups. Above all, give it a lot of likes. There you go. Always leave a comment. If you don't have a specific comment, just leave a comment. Hello, Samouraï. Let's dive into the depths. Putin delivered a frightening speech. The summary of this speech is this: the world could end sooner, but Russia will never fall. That's the conclusion. So, he says this. It's Putin speaking now. He says, "Dear colleagues, media, journalists, guests, good morning." He says, today, once again, in the European Union and NATO member states, calls for a war against Russia are being heard. Today, unfortunately or not, we can say once again that history always repeats itself. Always. It's Putin speaking. He says this: the opinions of our colleagues from Europe and NATO about Russia never change. He continues by saying, they are always ready to destroy Russia. All those who are Russian, they are ready to destroy, and they are even ready to occupy Russia. Their objective never changes. Their negative thinking against Russia has always remained in the veins of some of our colleagues and the countries that lead the European Union and NATO. And dear colleagues, today, we are once again expecting that Russia is an aggressor, and the truth is that Russia has never been an aggressor, and it has always defended itself throughout history. It's a fact. So, in the first part of his speech, he informs the word that is circulating: Russia is an aggressor, Russia is such a country, we must fight against Russia, we must make Russia disappear, etc. He first presents this aspect to demonstrate that the European and NATO rhetoric has never changed. But on the other hand, what is Russia doing? He continues. Share this video conference with me. You see, he speaks with respect and consideration. He says, dear colleagues from Europe and NATO, Russia never starts a war. Russia always stops the war. You start wars and the goal is always to destroy Russia. Russia has never threatened countries, has never threatened world security. But we like to say the snake is most dangerous when it is dying. So that means, in this part, Vladimir Putin makes them understand that Russia is not provoking. But it is they who have the objective in their sights to wipe Russia off the world map. And since they have that in their minds, Russia will not provoke. But if they provoke, Russia will retaliate. That's what it means. So, This saying he left, the snake bites the most when it is dying. So it means when Russia is cornered, Russia can no longer do anything. But there is a very important fact. Because Vladimir Putin will remind in his speech that what happened in Ukraine is not a war. It's a special military operation. Since the means at Russia's disposal, he says, and he repeats that the world has no idea of the military means Russia possesses. He says that Russia is not waging war in Ukraine. Since the Ukrainians, it's the other country of Russia. In Ukraine, they have their citizens who are there. Their objective is to save lives in Ukraine and not to destroy them. Since when faced with war and when faced with a special military operation, these are two different things. He continues. Vladimir Putin says this. He says, dear colleagues from Europe and NATO, there you go. He says, dear colleagues, as you know, we have proven many times in our history that we are a courageous country. And today, you are once again claiming victory over Russia. And dear colleagues, I assure you that Russia will not fall. It can be torn apart, but never destroyed. If a NATO or European Union country declares war on Russia, everyone must know that our reaction will be swift, like lightning. This is Putin speaking. He says, and if we feel a threat to us, our reaction will be destructive. He says, today, Russia possesses all kinds of weapons in the current history of the world. I emphasize it. I add, you have no idea. This is Putin speaking. He says, you have seen nothing of Russia and of its capabilities in Ukraine. Because Ukraine is our historical country, and there are Russians in Ukraine, and we are saving them. And this is not a war, but a special military operation. It's true. So you see, the demonstration even in Putin's reasoning. Then, he continues. He says, on the other hand, it will not be like in Ukraine. This is what you need to know. If you declare war on us, it will not be like in Ukraine. He continues by saying,